Our destination in the September issue, I think, is one of the hottest destinations right now.
The argument that a lot of people have, and the reason we entertained this subject matter, is one better than the other? And the truth,
I think the answer is...
Welcome to another episode of the Southern Boating Podcast. I'm Ian Sneed.
I'm James Anderson.
And today we're going to be talking to you about an ideal destination and a little bit of feedback from research that compared gyro stabilizers and fin stabilizers for your vessel. Before we get started, leave a comment. Let us know if you currently use a stabilizer, what you use, a gyro stabilizer or fin stabilizer. And at the end of the video, let us know if any of the information we shared with you makes you want to consider learning more about more options.
So let's get started with our destination.
Let's do it. Oh, subscribe to the channel. Let's get started with our destination.
How did you almost forget that? I can't believe I didn't catch you on that.
I know. That's twice, man. I almost forgot.
Thank goodness you actually remembered that. Please subscribe so we don't have to get rid of Ian.
Yeah, guys, I like my job.
So our destination in the September issue is Greece.
Yes.
Number one, Greece, I think, is one of the hottest destinations right now.
You
hear a lot of people talking about it. I know my wife is begging me to take her to Greece, and she wanted to do our honeymoon in Greece. Instead, we did St. Lucia, which I enjoyed.
Everybody wants to go to, what is it, Mykonos or?
Mykonos.
Mykonos, yeah. Everyone wants to go there. Okay, Greece, if you're Greek and you're watching this, I've never been to Greece. I don't know anything about, but I do love Greek people, though. I have a buddy.
Hey, Greek people, Greek food, yum yum.
Yes, I have a buddy, Konstantinos. This guy's incredible. And he made me fall in love with Greek people, period. Like, he's just fantastic.
Everybody knows I like Greek food because when I geeked out on our Tarpon Springs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite parts of going to Tarpon Springs is all the Greek restaurants.
We've shared with you some of our favorite Greek spots down here.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Oh, the Greek pizza place. Absolutely.
Yes.
So September's article is a firsthand account of one of our writers with her little trip to Greece.
And she talks about her experience, you know, I think it was sailing along these different islands. And so she shares with you. So the three things that stuck out to me from the article was culture, caves, and cocktails.
Yeah.
Right? That was really the best way to describe it.
Absolutely.
So obviously the Greek culture is very lively, very animated, a lot of fun. One of the things that stood out was if you're a fan of archaeology, if you're a fan of history, you want to put Greek at the top of your list of places to visit. That was really what I took from
Especially
this.
the archaeology piece in history, 100%. I mean, Greece is a very old country, has a lot of ruins there, steepened with history, very interesting, a lot of temples, a lot of different stuff to take in.
The island of Delos was one of the islands that she talks about, how it's dedicated to archaeology and history. You can go see the stone lions there, and this is an island that you probably want to take a ferry to because it's, I guess, a little rough when it comes to like docking, but you can take a ferry there. So as you're sailing and cruising the different islands, if you get the opportunity to go visit that, just to take in all of that history, it's fantastic because the entire island is focused on that.
And I think what's interesting about this read and why you may want to read this is if you're doing a self-captained charter over there, you're going to need to develop your own itinerary. And the writer here did not go to all of the most popular spots. She chose to go further south in the island chain and visit some of the spots that are really more visited by people doing exactly what she did.
Yes.
It doesn't have the major tourist buses and the major cruise ships going to these spots. So it was very, very refreshing. And then she got to see a lot of what some people don't get to see on their trip to Greece, right?
Absolutely.
Which I find very, very interesting. And she does mention the two types of charter companies that go there.
That's exactly where I was going, man.
One was Moorings.
The Moorings.
We love the Moorings.
Yes.
And the other one is Dream Charter.
Yeah, Dream Yacht Charter.
Dream Yacht Charter. So, you know,
And
those are two options over there.
And they both do power catamarans and sailing catamarans. Now, the one thing she does note is that the power catamarans, there's an upcharge because there is limited availability. So if you want to get one, you have to pay a premium for it.
Plus, you're going to pay a premium for gas. You're going to pay more
plus
gas.
You're paying for gas, right? Or you pay for the sailing catamaran. But both the Moorings and Dream Yacht Charter provide both of those options to anyone that does want to cruise in that area.
So I would say if you're thinking about Greece and you want to do a self-captain charter, or even hiring a captain for one of these charters, read this article. It might make you think a little bit more and plan that trip that much sooner.
Absolutely.
Let's move on, because
Yes.
this is a subject that I think a lot of people have had to put some thought into.
Absolutely.
And we had the opportunity to do this article because we do business with both fin stabilizer companies that advertise in our magazine, as well as gyro stabilizer companies that advertise in our magazine.
That's
and now
right.
there's a lot of choices between those two options. And the big question is, which one is better than the other?
Right.
Right.
And we know that there's other options like paravanes and roto stabilizers, but the fin and the gyro stabilizers tend to be the most common, especially in the recreational market. So this article is kind of based off of research that was done by CNAV. And what they did is they took different vessels and different equipment, and they determined the effectiveness of each, both at rest and in motion. Because the truth is, there's a difference between the two.
There's pros and cons of each style.
Right.
Right. And also depending on the size of the vessel.
Exactly.
Right. Not everything is a perfect match all the time.
Right. So we know, for example, that fin stabilizers are fantastic with larger vessels.
Correct.
We know that. And we also know that gyro stabilizers, because of the amount of space that you can save by getting a gyro stabilizer, it can fit on a small vessel and still get you the same results.
Right. And there's with a gyro stabilizer, you have no fins as appendages to your boat.
Exactly. So you're able to come in and out of nooks and crannies a little bit better. It's the best way to describe it. And chances are that's what you want to do. We know for a fact that excessive rolling will destroy a good trip. This is why it's been
Or make some of your guests a little unhappy.
Or
uncomfortable, unhappy, whatever you want to call it.
And so this is why it's such an important conversation for a lot of boat owners. Now, I'm just going to touch on kind of what the results were.
Yep.
And I'll start off by saying that depending on the size of your vessel, depending on whether
conditions.
the conditions that you're out, the usage of your vessel, right? All of that plays a role into which one fits better for you. And we know that the gyro stabilizers are good pretty much across all conditions, right?
Correct.
We know that. But we also know that with fin stabilizers, you have the option of electric or
hydraulic.
Yeah, I put hydrofin, and I was like, wait, that's not a full word.
No.
Yeah,
Powered
or
by hydraulics. So it seems like to me, from what I was reading, is the electric stabilizer fins were a slightly better option because they move a little bit faster than the hydraulic fins.
Right.
Right. So they make their micro and minute adjustments a little bit smoother and faster than that of the hydraulic ones.
And I took that as that would be best for vessels that are constantly in motion. And then the hydraulic ones, you might prefer if you find yourself being more at rest, right? That's because the truth is you won't need as fast of a response. So the hydraulic would work well for you.
Very well.
And so that's how I looked at that piece of information. I thought, okay, there's a great way to apply each one if you're looking at applying one.
Absolutely. And then when we get into the gyros, I thought the gyros were also very interesting they do work when the boat is in motion as well. Most people think of gyros for fishing boats and it's stable while you're getting
when you're
the rock
just
and
at
roll.
rest.
Right. When the motion of the ocean is perpendicular to your hull.
Right.
So you're getting waves slapping against the side of your boat, and you're getting that rolling and pitching effect as you move in and out of them.
Right.
And it definitely helps there. But it does help under motion too.
It does.
Now, what was also interesting about this article is the use of both in combination.
Yeah.
Right?
That was my next talking point.
So I think that's where it really started to shine. That yes, you can get even increased benefits out of having both in operation at the same time, both underway and while you're
at rest.
While you're at rest.
Now,
Correct.
I mean, there is always going to be a law of diminishing return where that is no longer the case. But there are situations where you want to consider both. Right, it's not just one. You want to consider both because of the benefits that you get from it.
And I think that's mostly on the larger vessels because the
Correct.
two vessels that they mentioned here,
it's like 108 and 118.
108 and 118 feet. Right. So both about the same exact size, and we were talking about 3 stabilizers plus the fins in both of them. Right.
Yes.
So if you're in the midst of determining what is the best fit for your yacht or boat, pick up the September issue, read this article, take a look. We actually post some of the graphs and the actual data that's here. And if you need more, you can always reach out to us. I can see if we have more data on this from what we took in.
Yeah.
But very, very interesting. And I'm sure all the companies, too, that are mentioned in this can also help you determine what is the best fit.
Absolutely.
They're going to want your long-term business.
Right.
They're going to want to keep you happy.
Exactly.
For right now, I don't think we can go any further. It really depends on, it's custom for each and every person, right?
Right.
It's depending on what you're going to be doing, what size vessel you're going to have.
Right. So the argument that a lot of people have, and the reason we entertained this subject matter was, is one better than the other? And the truth,
I think the answer is no. Not one is not better than the other.
It's a very
but
lawyer,
they're better in combination.
Yeah, it's a very lawyer type answer. It depends.
It depends.
It depends. Yeah, if you have a lawyer,
sounds like you're talking to me. It depends.
No, but it really does. It depends on your vessel. So don't go into purchasing one saying, I know this one's better than the other, because the truth is, for your vessel, that may not be the case, right? And that's what we want you to take home from this. Is that it depends on your vessel, and you need to have a conversation with companies that provide both options so that you can actually make an informed decision.
That's right. The best part is you can make an informed decision, and that's what we want to help you with.
Yeah.
So for right now, I'm James Anderson.
I'm Ian Sneed.
Make sure to come back and check us out next week.
But because this guy was short, it looked like an angry leprechaun because his face turned so red. And he was like, ah!
I've even got the perfect subject. Jared, if you're watching, I'm going to duct tape you to a tree. It's coming, dude.
All right.
My wife's cousin, man. We get along, but sometimes...
You want to duct tape
Aries on Aries, we're good.
Yeah, and until you're not.
Until we're not.
Yeah. All right, let's get started.